So one of the challenges we have realized that researchers are suffering from is actually being able to set research strategy, being able to actually identify the experts in different disciplines, being able to collaborations, being able to get funding, being able to identify the relevant funding opportunities, apply for funding, as well as, of course, the keywords you put on your paper is one of the major factors that enhance the paper visibility. So now we're looking into you're using Google Scholar like a search engine, or Scopus, or Web of Science to look for papers related, for example, to climate change. So selecting the right keywords will make your paper come in top of the results. So one of the things that the results show up is based on the relevance of the keywords that you selected to your paper. So the right keywords is very important. We're able to provide and analyze and provide you with data around what users are looking for when they are searching for keywords are they using to search for that particular word. And accordingly, these set of keywords you can use to maybe enhance your paper's visibility. Especially if we're looking at SDGs, for instance. SDGs now, we have developed our own query to capture all the research related to SDGs. So if you are not using the right keywords, your paper might be missed from the query or from the SDGs. So you just need to make sure that you're using the right set of keywords that will make your paper visible. The second thing is, for example, one of the things in research management is selecting of journals. So I understand journal selection might be a big change, and then you can start approaching the journals that you like based on your research topic. So journal selection also is very important to use. So the common thing about these challenges is that we combine the data with the technology and provide you with a user-friendly interface that you can just export your information based on your need. And it's a tailored tool, and each one of these solutions provide an angle of the challenges so that you can get a better understanding. One of the major tools that we have developed is Scopus, of course. And Scopus is the biggest abstract and citation database of peer-reviewed literature. So when we're talking about Scopus, we say it's the biggest abstract and citation database. Let's say, what is abstract and citation database? It's confusing because sometimes people think of Scopus, I can see the full text of an. That's the only part covered in Scopus, unless the paper is published in open. Then you can view the full text in Scopus. If it's just there's a link to the publisher website. To the publisher website, you will be able to read the full text. For example, ELSEVIER full text database is science-like. It's only for ELSEVIER journals. However, Scopus database is a summary for more than 7,000 different publishers. Okay, ELSEVIER is one of them. Okay, so once a paper is, what happens is it goes into a computer system. It starts identifying the text within the paper. For example, we have the journal name, and then we create a journal profile with all the documents that has been published using the same journal name. And the same thing for the authors, and the same thing for the institution. And of course, the keywords and the abstract and the title we use to link this paper to specific keywords, so that when users go into the search engine and search, for example, for climate change, they get this paper becomes one of the outputs from the search. That's why it's very important. Number one, when you are publishing, number one advice, use the same name. Don't use the. My name is Muhammad Ra'id. If I publish with m.ra'id, the first paper, and the second paper, ra'id.m, the computer that analyzes the data, the paper, might be confused and might just create two profiles for the same researcher. And this happens. And when you do that, you can search for similar names and you can merge profile. But to avoid this happen, you just unify institution name as well. we have lots of cases that we've seen institutions with several profiles. Is at the end, if it has like different addresses, for instance, someone said Kuwait, and someone said the exact Shababiyya, I think this place is called yeah, so you write the exact address. So the way you write the address also can make a computer think, okay, there's two campuses for the same university, so it might create two different profiles for the same university. And of course, the profile of the university is really important because that's the one used by global ranking bodies to assess the university's performance. So it needs to be complete. Okay, and the last thing is the keywords, as I mentioned. The keywords is really important because that's the one will make your paper visible or related to a particular search topic. So it's really...
Put the SDG as a keyword, would that help? Like, for example, gender inequality.
Of course, gender inequality or technology. So that's the foundation of technology. So that's the foundation of an impact, saying if your paper is not foundation of an impact, saying if your paper is not citing, so simply you're not making. Okay, so the biggest, because as I said, ELSEVIER Scopus database is coming from more than 7,000 different publishers. There's more than 2.4 billion cited references back to 1970, and there's almost 100 million records between books and journals and articles. And there's more than 19 million author profile and 100,000 institution profiles globally. The database is multidisciplinary, so you'll not feel left out whether in humanities or arts or medicine. So it's really interesting to analyze the global research landscape in different disciplines. Okay. And when we say peer review, we're talking about how ELSEVIER select the journals that will be included in Scopus. So we have this team called content. This team is a subject matter experts in their field, and they analyze, they are the ones who decide whether a journal should be indexed in Scopus or not. They are independent scientists. They do not work for ELSEVIER. They are subject matter experts in their field, and they analyze the journal and look for the technical and the quality of the journal, and based on a specific, transparent, and clear criteria that we always communicate, so that they, at the end, they decide whether a journal is actually meeting the criteria or not, and will be in the district. And once a journal meets the criteria, it gets indexed in Scopus. And once it gets indexed in Scopus, it does not mean that the journal will continue in Scopus for the rest of its life. So there's a re-evaluation process that happens in Scopus. And sometimes it is, and after it gets, it drops because they're not now looking for dissemination of knowledge as much as they're trying to make money. So the quality drops, they start accepting more papers, and then accordingly they are flagged, and we have a lot of tools to monitor these journals, and accordingly these journals are discontinued from Scopus. Okay, so as I told you, there are 14 criteria the Content Selection Advisory Board are looking at. One of the major things, by the way, when we are going to talk about predatory journals, if you understand those criteria and you apply them in any journal, you will automatically eliminate the chance of the journal being a predatory journal. So one of the main things is that the journal has to be at least 2 years old with regular publications without delays, okay? And consistent number of issues every issue. The national database, it's the only database that accepted journals in different languages, like the full text could be in Arabic or in French or whatsoever, and still get indexed in Scopus. But the head and the tail of the paper must be translated into English. The references must be in Roman script. There should be a website, clear website, ISSN number, a clear peer review process, a clear publication ethics statement telling us about how does the editor-in-chief deal with any violation in the so there is more than 2,800 journals in Science Direct, covering more than 375 different topics. As I said, 18% of the entire research globally is published in Elsevier journals or books, and they are yielding the highest number of citations. And this tells us that, okay, these editors are doing a great job in terms of visibility, and they're able to attract traffic to those websites. It's a database of journals and books as well. So, as we know, books are mainly for undergrads. It includes the foundation knowledge, something that's really important. They have been set by the United Nations in 2015. They are part of something called the Millennium Development Goals. Before the SDGs, there used to be something called the Millennium Development Goals. However, they felt that the Millennium Goals were not enough, and they started creating 17 goals. So they developed these goals, 17 goals. Each goal is targeting a specific research area or a specific gap. And based on that gap, researchers, institutions, countries are trying to showcase how they are contributing toward SDGs. So there's a lot of national level action plan toward each SDGs. Like, for example, climate change. It's one of the major impact on the societies in different places. So now everyone is trying to contribute with the research toward SDGs. So we realized that, okay, since everyone wants to measure their performance, we need to be able to, or maybe measure the performance of each institution in this particular SDG. In research, I mean. In 2018, we generated this query using the machine learning, and based on that, we've created to capture in the entire research produced in Scopus database related to each SDG. And this query was updated on a yearly basis. The one we have is in 2023, still the one in still released. But every year we add the precision of the query just to make sure it includes, there's no research missing from this particular SDG. And the query could be found here in this link. So if you click on that link, you can see, you know, in Scopus, it supports the Boolean operators. So when you're looking for a document, you use, for example, climate change or global warming and a particular, for example, crops yields and whatsoever. So the query is available on this link, which will be actually available in the slides that I'm going to share with you. And these are the entire queries of each SDG. Those queries to find all the research in Scopus related to any SDG. Okay, so I'm going to go through Scopus database, for instance, just to show you quickly how can you use Scopus. Scopus is available for all the faculty here at Kuwait University through the portal of the university. You know, research topics are very dynamic. There's always new topics, emerging topics in research. There's always new discoveries. Sometimes I might not have the experts of a particular topic in my institution, because there's only few publications related to this particular topic globally. So I need to be able to identify who has been active in this particular research area. Maybe I can collaborate with, maybe I can just ask to be for mentorship. Maybe I'm looking for a scholarship in a particular place. I want to know which would be the ideal institution for that. So all this information are based on evidence. It's not just subjective data, okay? You can look for funders and funding bodies, and those funders are based on the acknowledgements on any paper. as I told you, we're talking about Scopus database and how the technology are being used to help you with the data and provide you with efficient use of information. This database has been developed, and now we are in the era of AI. So right now, artificial intelligence is like taking over everything, and AI is something that we should not go easy with it. It's something really important that everyone must be aware of and must equip themselves with and being able to know how to use the AI properly, because AI is going to be more prevalent in our life. It's not going to go away. So it's just going to be in every part of our lives. So this technology, we have applied the AI tool on top of Scopus database. And through this AI tool, we're able to generate summaries about particular questions and using this AI tool. And the best thing about it is that it's based on Scopus database, which is a peer-reviewed and balanced database. So one of the common problems with the AI is that three things. As we have published 7 principles actually, and we continue to add those principles to guide the developers of AI tools on how to responsibly use AI. One of the principles is talking about, for example, your data privacy and security. So this is a huge threat. Most of the open AI tools that is available, they do not, they use your data and your information to teach the public open AI. So they use your inputs on their platforms to teach the open AI. And this is violation to your data. So what we have done, we have created a strict agreement with the OpenAI that our users' data will be only limited to Scopus, will not be shared with the public AI. The second thing is the data hallucination. When AI has, when there's limited information in a specific topic, the AI tend to fabricate summaries based on the limited information available. It's called data hallucination. And it's a commonly thing in most of the AI tools. So to avoid that, we simply prepared, we've added some rules and we've guided the AI model. Our AI model is to limit the information, or the summaries should be limited from the exact documents or the data that we provide. We tell them, okay, you cannot generate summaries outside of this database or this list of documents. And if there is enough data to support your answer, you just give an immediate answer. If there is not limited data, you give an answer and you say, okay, the data was limited, so you need to do your own investigation. And we also provide you with the reference. And the third thing is that if there's no data, we simply say, okay, there's no data to support the answer of your question. And we would rather not pretend to say we don't know instead of just pretending to know everything. So the third thing is about the bias in the results of the AI. This is also one of the challenges in AI. Sometimes you write an answer and you find a biased results toward a specific region. And this also relies on the underlying database that is used. So what makes also Scopus and ELSEVIER tools available unique is that, as I told you, we guide the model to use only Scopus database, and they cannot go out of Scopus database. So there's no chance for data coming from predatory journals or data coming from non-reliable source. All the information that is coming from a balanced database, which is Scopus database. And accordingly, the summaries are generated. Let's see what Scopus AI does. So, okay, so I just wrote a question: what is the impact of climate change on crops? Okay, and I intendedly wrote some mistakes in my query. So I just asked this question. There's a layer of something called Copilot layer that helps with the correction of the spelling mistakes, helps with the translation of the the query, because I might be writing the query in Arabic, in French, in any language. And it also breaks down the query into different parts so that it can create something called the query using the Boolean operators that you can use in Scopus to extract the list of documents. Like if you look here, we see that these are the entire query that that you can exactly copy and paste it in Scopus to get a list of documents. So the generated summaries here is based on, you can see a statement and then a reference. And all the references are coming from Scopus. And we were able to give you something called the foundational documents. These are the documents in an area that you should not miss. They are foundational documents, something that has the originality of discovery. We were able to track citations from one paper to another until we ended up with a paper that has the main discovery. So they are important papers that you should not miss. And of course you can generate extended summaries and you can view something called a concept map. And here the concept map is like the brain of the AI. It tells you how the AI interpreted your query and accordingly the summary is generated. And then you can select, for example, I don't want to see the adaptation, I just want to see the yield, so the crop impact on yield, and then rice, for instance. So I'm just gonna select rice and yield, so just to direct the AI to narrow down or to focus on a specific topic. So it gives you a more summary with more references. It gives you also the topic experts based on the matching documents, how many matching documents per author, and it gives you a summary about these authors so that you're able to know what kind of subject area are they working on. And one of the best things actually available with this tool is something called the emerging themes. So it does not only just give you a summary about the topic, it also analyzes this topic and tell you what are the trending topics related to this particular research area. And what are the gaps in those trending topics. So it gives you something called the potential hypothesis. Beside giving you the emerging topic, for example here, in this emerging topic we see the role of climate, smart agriculture in enhancing food security. This is one of the emerging topics related to this. And then you can see the potential hypothesis, adaptation of climate-smart agriculture practices significantly improves crops yield and reduces vulnerability of the climate change. So it gives you different emerging themes and all the potential hypotheses prepare for each emerging theme. And of course, a link to dig deeper so that you can learn more. That's one of the tools. And the other tool actually available for you is Science Direct. Yeah.
Are we subscribed to that feature on the Scopus?
It's on top of Scopus, and maybe it's not visible for now, but you know it will be available actually shortly.
We're working on it.
Yeah. And the other tool is actually Science Direct. Remember when we said Science Direct? Science Direct is the database for the full text. If you'd like to, for example, you've discovered what's happening in research across the world in Scopus, because Scopus is not just Elsevier journals, it's like 7,000 different publishers. So you've discovered the research happening across the world, you've analyzed the research, you've got understanding of this research area. Now you want to read, okay, more, you become focused, you identified which topic you would like to focus on. Now you'd like to read from a credible source like Elsevier journal, you want to read the full text. You will go into Science Direct. And here in Science Direct, it's very simple. You can search for a particular keyword. Let's keep the thread that we're working with, which is climate change. I'm just going to select climate change. And we've seen here that there is more than 900,000 papers, 900,000 publications between articles and books available in this topic, since climate change is a very broad topic, so definitely there's going to be a lot of documents. And there are filters that you can use to narrow down your search. And here is something called also Science Direct AI. So now the AI also has been applied on Science Direct, but now it's not just looking at the head and the tail of the paper, it's just giving you a more focused analysis from the full text of a paper. We can try it, but before we just go for that, we can show you also here in the top, there's a list of the journals and books. If you'd like to publish with ELSEVIER journals or books, you can just find a repository with the entire journals and books, and you can select which discipline you would like to see all the sources available from ELSEVIER, and then you can select whether you want a hybrid or a subscription or an open access journal. So let's try the AI and use the same query. So I just wrote a question, says what is the impact of climate change on crops? And here is the summary that is generated from the full text. It gives you a summary and links for further insights, just a directory for others. Beside that, okay, so there's something that says compare publications. And I believe that's really helpful. By the way, Science Direct is still, I'm just giving you an insight about what's coming in the pipeline. So now Science Direct AI is not officially launched. That's like a sneak peek into what's going in the pipelines. So Science Direct is a tool that also, Science Direct AI, it helps you with analyzing the publication, analyzing the goals, the primary goals, objectives of each publication, what was the endpoints, what was the methodology used, what was the results, what was the conclusion for each publication related to the query that I'm asking. It's more of, it looks like a systematic review for me. It conducts a table for you with the full entire analysis. Please.
I have a question. With regards to the Science Direct, does it only use the database in ELSEVIER? Is that what is the difference between the Science Direct AI and the Scopus AI? So Scopus AI uses the whole Scopus database versus the Science Direct uses only the ELSEVIER database.
Exactly. That's perfectly understood.
Yeah. Let me answer this question real quick. So for Scopus AI, you know, it's all about the abstract and the citation of the paper. So Scopus AI reads those two parts. Oh, okay. So it's mainly used to understand the global landscape of research in a specific topic. After that, after you have selected already the topic that you are going to go through, it's time to go to read more and deep. That's when you go to Science Direct, because it reads not just the abstract and the citation, but the full paper. Okay.
But only with regards to publications within ELSEVIER, so it does not look at publications elsewhere.
Yeah.
So far, yes. That's the answer for now. Maybe in 6 months this will change.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so there is tools for you, they are available for your institution, like Scopus and Science Direct. You can just use those tools so that you can search for a particular topic of your interest, like anything related to SDGs, anything related to whatever topic you're working with. You can use Scopus to analyze the global research landscape, and get like, ask your question and get like an entire list of documents, and then you can analyze those documents and get insights about the journals, the authors, the funders. And this is really important data for you to help you with planning your research. How are you going to contribute? Now, if you think about the challenges that we spoke about in the beginning, one of them is just selecting the right journals. And the problem with this is not just being able, you might not being able to identify the right journal for your paper. Sometimes your topic might be outdated, might not be interesting for the journal, even though it's related to the same scope of the journal, but it's not innovative enough for the journal to accept it. Think about it not as if you are a researcher, think of an editor mindset. So the editor of a journal wants to publish a paper that secures that this paper will be interesting to the audience. And it will be read and cited. Because what the journal editor wants is what? Is to get the journal, to get traffic to the journal, and also to get high impact factor and site score, and become in Q1 journal. So for the journal to be in Q1, they need to have a high impact factor and site score. They need to maintain a high impact factor and site score. So the equation of the site score and the impact factor is very straightforward. It's just citations divided by publications. So imagine a journal with high citations and low publications. So the impact factor and site score is going to be high. So they want to maintain that. So just think about the innovation. Think how you are going to contribute to research. How your paper is going to be interesting to the audience. Use a language that would be like interesting to the audience, and accordingly, your paper will be accepted in top journals.
Question here.
Yeah, please.
So, I will talk as an author.
Okay.
I write my paper. Since we are talking about tools, is there a tool that helped me to select the right keywords and the right references in order to get high citation? I don't want to use the AI tools.
Yeah.
I want to know based on the statistics.
Historical data. That's a very good question. Thank you very much, Doctor, for your question. Okay, so for you to answer this question, I will need to go on to one of the tools available by ELSEVIER, which is SciVal. So I'm going to go into SciVal. I'm going to select an entity, and this entity is going to be a research area. And for me, I'm going to select SDG 13, since we are talking about. And as I said, I'm going to select the query of 2023, which is the latest one. Now I'm analyzing a research topic, the SDGs, all the entire SDGs from the world. So now I'm looking at an SDG. I can view a summary about that. So in the years from 2017, I'm looking at 2019 to 2024, there is 400,000 different output in this particular SDG in climate change, 400,000. And if we go down a little bit, we see something called the key phrase analysis. And this analysis tells you what are the most relevant keyword and the most growing keywords. Okay, so climate change, carbon dioxide reduction, global warming, gas emission, greenhouse gases, carbon footprint. These are keywords that are trending in this research area. Imagine I am focused on, for example, greenhouse gases. Okay, so I'm just going to select that particular keyword. It's going to give me how many publications have used greenhouse gases in specific as one of their keywords. And we see there's a positive trend each year toward this particular keyword. And if you'd like to see more analysis of this, so we only select greenhouse gases. You can select multiple keywords and see what others have been using, which keywords, which documents has been using this. So if I view the table form, you will be able to identify actually the list of documents in this particular keyword. Okay, so there's something here that I can. Top contributors. So now I've selected greenhouse gases in particular. Now you can see in this particular keyword, who are the top institutions, who are the top countries, and what are the publications that included the word greenhouse gases, who are the top author who uses this exact keyword, and which journals has published a paper that is related to this exact keyword. And of course, this analysis can be changed every time I add a new keyword. I can just select one keyword and another and so forth. Yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Excellent,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Please.
Just a question on this. Is it possible to apply a filter so that we look at, because what this does, especially the keyword map, it looks at the whole publication, right, everything that was published
Yeah.
on that topic.
Yeah.
So is it possible to look at, for example, the high-performing articles, the ones that received citations? And
That's a good question also.
which keywords?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's see. We are talking about a research area. Now we're looking at a research area that is the SDG. Let's go back.
You want to check the publication matrix?
Yeah.
Yes, it's up there. Just below.
I'm just going to go back. Oh, okay. For the summary. Okay, so now we're talking about the 400,000 papers, right? So you would like to see the most, the top papers. There's something here called the top 10 cited papers, the top 10 citation percentile. Top 10 citation percentile. They are the top cited papers in this particular, top 10% cited papers globally in this particular SDG. So you can just analyze it in more details and get a list of documents related to that and go analyze those in more details. So let's analyze it in more details. So now we have a publication out of the 400 every year. This is the scholarly output year by year. And this is the top citation percentile. These are the top 10% and top 1% globally each year. So we can just see worldwide and at share publication, top 10%. So that's the top 1% and that's the top 10%. And this is worldwide. We're not looking at institution. Okay, so let's assume we are going back to the summary and you would like to see the 400 and you want to apply filters to those and create a publication set. So you can just go to this and select, for example, whatever filter you would like. From any region, from publication stage, from SDG, keyword, publication from particular country, the open access, the number of years. I'm only looking at the last ones. I can sort by field-weighted citation impact and just select. I can just apply filter. So from the 400,000 now we have few of them, and then you can create a publication set and analyze those publication sets to know who are the contributors, which journals have been used. You know, there's a lot of analysis that you can do within, tailored analysis you can do within SciVal.
Sir, I do have a question regarding the SciVal subscription.
Yeah, please.
So I'm currently signed into ELSEVIER, but it seems like KU users does not have an access to SciVal for
Yeah.
some reason.
Yeah.
So this is still not available for us?
Yeah, to be honest, SciVal is, it used to be actually, right? It used to be available, SciVal, right?
No, we're working
Yeah,
on it.
at some
We're
point,
working on
yeah.
it to provide it for Kuwait University.
Yeah.
Currently it's not available.
Yeah, it will be available, inshallah, shortly So, any more questions before we can take a break? And then we will come back for the other part of the session, which we will talk mainly about the predatory publishing.
Yes, please, you have a question.
Please.
So regarding the AI, the Scopus AI, and the Science Direct AI, and SciVal, they're still all not available for us, and they will be in the near future. Do you have like a timeline when that will be?
I'm not sure. We're following up with our colleagues from Virtus and then the university management, and I believe we will have an announcement once it will be available. All the faculty will be aware of that. The exact date we're not sure really when.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes, please.
For the time being, to evaluate journals, we can still use ISI Web of Science. That is cited in Clarivat.
Yeah.
And it would do exactly probably the same, but I mean, of course, SciVal is more in depth.
Yeah.
So maybe you can like show us
Show you what?
ISI Web of Science, so that we can like have
To show the difference between.
like
Insights,
how
you
to,
mean,
how
or?
to, no, I mean how to evaluate a journal according to ISI Web of Science. Clarivat.
I will talk about the journal in the next session. I will talk about the evaluation of journals in the
Because we
next
do
session.
have subscriptions
You do have subscription on Scopus database.
and ISI Web of Science Clarivat.
Yeah, yes, but it looks like Clarivat are not doing a good job here, so we cannot actually present the work.
I'm not sure about that. So, so let's discuss what exactly you want to do in the break, and maybe in the part related to the journal evaluation, the next session, I'll try to highlight whatever you. Please.
I wonder how you feel about journals that publish in so many different subject areas, which became common with in the last maybe 10 years, things roughly of this nature. Specialty maybe is eroding, I feel. At the same time, this multidisciplinary nature, which can encompass so many different disciplines, is on the rise.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I don't feel it's good. But I want to hear from you. What do you feel about that?
Well, we do believe that actually the more the multidisciplinary teamwork, the better the outcome of the research. And actually there's a lot of directions globally toward multidisciplinary teamwork, like researchers from engineering and researchers from medicine working together toward a specific objective, and each one is capturing his through the research a different angle of the problem. And it usually yields better outcomes, actually. Right now, we don't have enough journals that are multidisciplinary and like top journals that are multidisciplinary in its nature. They're more focused towards specialty, but I believe the direction will normally shift toward the multidisciplinary journals and journals with different subject areas. I think we are going to see a growth in these journals in the coming period as the impact of the research is going to be represented high actually for those particular journals. Yeah. Right now, the multidisciplinary, we don't have enough resources in this particular area, but for example, Nature is a multidisciplinary journal.
I know.
Yeah, and Nature is really one of the top performing journals as well. So we might see a lot of journals like that in the coming future, in the near future.
The issue, if I may continue,
Yeah,
the issue, in my opinion, is editorial. To be able to get the right people to review papers.
Exactly.
And maybe this is, I feel, might not be monitored as well as, journals that specifically are specialized.
Focus, yeah.
But in terms of even your evaluations in Scopus and whether a journal merits to be, in Scopus or not.
Mhm.
Is that a consideration, about reviewers coming from different topics, and therefore maybe the review process might be diluted?
To be honest, for the editors in our, we only have control on the editors of our journals, and these editors, we always try to highlight which kind of topics that they are experts on. So, for example, if there's a new emerging topic that the journal is not expert on, they would recommend another journal to the authors. And we have this service called the referral. So now, if you are not accepted in one of the journals, we would refer to other journals that have the expertise within Elsevier in this particular topic. The journal might be a really good one, but they don't. The reviewers might not be experts in this topic, so they will not accept a paper that they are not expert on. That's the current practice for now. However, they would recommend another journal that has the expertise in this particular journal. Yeah. It's still a growing area. That to be more developed in the future. I believe there's a lot of development in this area. So, yeah. Any questions? Okay, so I think we have how many? We have 1 hour. We will come back at 12:30? Okay, we'll come back at 12:30 to continue the other part of the session. Thank you very much for being here. Predatory publishing now, with as I mentioned, the explosion of technology nowadays, we've seen that there's they're growing even more. They're being created. They're using it's become so easy right now for anyone to just create a website, call it a journal of Kuwait University Journal of Medicine, for instance. I'm just going to create a website, call it this name, and I'll start sending out emails to everyone from this particular university, telling them, okay, my journal is in Scopus, it has a site score of 7 and it has an impact factor of 4, so come publish your paper with me. It's going to be published in 2 weeks, but you will have to pay $400. So what happens is, you will send your paper and you will pay for $100, and your paper will be actually online, but there's no peer review process. This is not even a legitimate journal. So now it's going to impact your career, because simply your paper will not be cited. And then there's no peer review process, actually. So you will try to retract your paper and get it published in somewhere else, and he will start asking for more money to even retract your paper. And who knows, he might not even retract it at the end. If you wanted to publish your paper in some other journal that is legitimate, the other journal will reject your paper because it is available online already. So you have to remove it first online, and then you can ask for submission in another journal. So it's a threat. It's a very, very big threat in the research or community. And many of the early career researchers are not able to identify these kind of scammers, okay? So you should be aware of the kind of information they share, and you should be able to assess a journal before you start applying for sending your paper to this journal. You should go into the journal website. Remember when we spoke about the journal indexation criteria in the first session? We highlighted some of the things that if you already checklisted them, you will automatically exclude any predatory journal from the list. So, just to give you an estimation of the amount of, or the size of this issue, so we're talking about Africa and Asia, there is more than 420,000 articles that have been identified to be published in predatory journals from 2010 to 2014. So it is huge, and there is a lot of researchers that have been impacted by this. So one of the initiatives, there's been so many different initiatives to try to educate researchers about this threat and avoid it. One of them was a list of predatory journals that was designed by someone called Jeffrey Bale. And Jeffrey Bale was from Colorado, from Denver, Colorado University. He created this list of predatory journals. Any suspicious journals are included in this list. And he kept on updating it every regular basis until 2017. He faced some legal issues and he had to stop updating the list. However, it's being updated until now, but by an anonymous body. So one of the legal issues is that you can just flag someone journal that it is predatory. You have to have an evidence for that. So they stopped officially updating the list, but it is being updated on anonymous basis. Okay, so part of the predatory publishing is not just having a unique URL saying, for example, Journal of Kuwait University, Medical Journal of Kuwait University. Creating a website, naming it this name, and then just inviting researchers in medicine to publish your paper with it. So at least this is a unique name for the journal. Sometimes there is creative ways of tricking researchers. Like for example, like imagine there's a journal that you are aware of and it's like a famous journal in your field, and suddenly, all of a sudden, there is like a mirror journal, a journal that looks exactly the same, but the URL is different. Okay, he copied the exact similar interface of this user interface from a particular journal like Lancet, for instance. You have the same exact feel and sense that you are using Lancet. And he started applying, okay, come publish in your paper. So you'll be so proud that you have published your paper in Lancet, and then you realized that this is not even a legitimate source or a legitimate journal. So there is so many ways. And beside the predatory publishers who already, when they design a website, they are intending to trick the researchers. There are some sort of unethical publishing also you should be aware of. And these ones are also tracked and being discontinued also from Scopus. Like when you see a journal whose the editors themselves force researchers to put their content. Like that's an ethical behavior from the editors of the journals, like unethical publishing. They force to include citations for papers that might not be relevant to the topic itself. You might see one of the editors who have a lot of papers published in their own journal, which is also suspicious. So there is a lot of different unethical ways also that we monitor on a regular basis from Scopus, and we do have a lot of different ways of monitoring these journals I'm going to talk about. So one of the major contributing factors to that issue, or the predatory journals, is of course the pressure on researchers of publish or perish. Now researchers are required to publish papers or they will not progress in their career. So it's going to be a big pressure on researchers to publish. The technology, it now has become easier than ever to create a website and just name it whatsoever. It's not expensive at all. It costs very few amount of money to just to have a website and start approaching researchers. And of course, the open access. The open access concept itself. Now researchers will pay to get their paper published. So you pay in advance now. So he's after your money. So once you pay, that's all what the predator wants. Okay, so what we do at ELSEVIER is that we validate the journals. Sorry. Yeah. We validate the journals the same way the journals validate your article. So whenever you publish a paper, a journal will look, will conduct peer review on your paper, just make sure it's acceptable, then accept it. And when we evaluate the journal, we evaluate all the content that is published in this particular journal, just to make sure the quality is correct and everything is run well. Okay, so sometimes, I've already spoken about the criteria of indexation, like we look at, for example, one of the main things is that the journal has to be at least 2 years old before it applies for indexation with a regular publication. So you can just create a website today and just think about applying for indexation. That's not going to happen, so you're not going to get indexed. You have to at least stay for 2 years before you apply for indexation. And then when you apply for indexation, we will look at the content within the journal. The journal needs to be fulfilling the quality and the technical criteria to be indexed in Scopus. And once the journal is indexed, there's a lot of cases, when I said earlier, that sometimes journals get indexed and then their behavior changes because they have been investing a lot of money to get the journal indexed, and then when it is indexed, they start accepting a lot of papers and the behavior change and so forth. So we have this something called radar. The radar, actually, it's a way that we monitor all the journals in Scopus. We look at all the rapid, unexplained behavior or changes in behavior from different journals. We monitor matrix, specific matrix, and when we're talking about matrix, I'm going to tell you more about research matrix and how to interpret those matrix. So there are different ways actually we look for, we think of a journal that is suspicious. One of them, if the journal suddenly got overperforming, or it is very low underperforming, maybe it's not cited at all. So these journals are flagged and then they go into the re-evaluation. The other thing is sometimes, okay, if you believe that you're working with one of the journals and you think it's suspicious, just don't stay silent about it, just communicate this to whoever you think. And we also receive complaints from users that there's a suspicious journals, and we always clean up the databases to make sure the database is accurate. There's a lot of different, as I mentioned, different matrix, and the matrix like the self-citation rates, the total citation counts, site score, number of articles, number of full text, clicks, views, and so forth. One of the other things that we do is something called the source list of Scopus. We have an updated Excel sheet available on Scopus. Regardless if you are a subscriber or not, you can always check the Excel sheet and see all the name of the discontinued journals on quarterly basis. Okay, I'm going to show you right now how to do that in Scopus. Okay. Remember the previous session we spoken about document search, author, researcher discovery, organization, Scopus AI. This time I'm going to talk about sources up there on the top. Okay, when you click on sources, this is the repository of all the journals in Scopus. Okay, as I mentioned in the beginning, some journals started they were indexed in Scopus, and then they get discontinued, right? So here we see that we have 47,000 journals. Not all of them are still indexed in Scopus, okay? If you want to exclude the ones that is not indexed in Scopus, you will have to filter out the ones that are not in any quartiles. So if a journal has a quartile, Q1 or 2 or 3 or 4, it means the journal has a site score, 2023, it means the journal is still indexed in Scopus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter out all the ones that has been discontinued from Scopus. And apply, filter. So now instead of 47,000, we have 29,000 journals, okay? So these are the journals that are still indexed and they have a site score and quartile, okay? In different subject areas. Okay, you can search for a title, because usually when a predatory journal approach academic, what they do is, okay, they try to tell you some insights that is appealing to you so that you can publish your paper. Like one of the things, okay, I am indexed in Scopus and I have a site score of X. The first thing you should do is just go into sources, write the journal name, make sure the journal is there. If the journal is there, okay, look at the profile of the journal. Check, the first thing you should check on the profile, the coverage years. I'm going to show you right now. So you can just write the title, and the title, if you wrote it with one letter spelling mistake, it's not going to show. So it has to be very accurate. Or you could search by publisher or subject area. So I'm just going to select the subject area like, let's see, medicine. Okay. So I'm just going to select medicine as a subject area, and then I'm just going to filter out. So now I have almost 7,000 journals in medicine, okay? I can just select any random one, morbidity and mortality, weekly report. Okay. So that's a typical journal profile, okay? The first thing you should look at is the years covered by Scopus, okay? So it's been covered since 81 till 2024. It means it is covered this year as well. And then you look at the site score, it is 65, and SJR is the Simago Journal Rank, it is scored, and SNP is Source Normalized Impact Per Paper. Okay, when you look at the journal profile, and you see the site score, you wonder what is the site score? And what is the quartile of this particular journal? How do you identify this information? Okay, so remember when I told you the equation of the site score? The site score is simply the total number of citations the journal received the last 4 years divided by the total number of publications published by this journal the last 4 years. Very simple. 4 years of citation divided by 4 years of publications. And then it is yielding the total site score. This number is updated on yearly basis, and in June 2025, site score 2023 will be released. Every June of each year, the new site score will be released. Okay? And accordingly, the journal quartile might move, like today's the journal in Q1, it might move from Q1 to Q2 and so forth. You can view the history of that, so of site scores. So this site score used to be 52 in 2022, and now in 2023 it is 65. And this is the site score of 2024. You know 2024 is still not a complete year, right? So 37.9, that's until now, it is 37.9. In June 2025, 2024 is going to be here, and site score tracker is going to be for 2025. Okay? Okay. One of the other things available in the journal profile for you to check also is the subject area.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So this number, for example, now for 2 years, what indication now comes to your case? I mean, something like this. From 65, it dropped to 37. What is the information that you can get benefit out of that?
That's a very nice question, actually. Okay, it's a, you know, sometimes in some promotional countries, some criteria of promotion in different countries, they rely on the quartile of your paper. If the paper is published, for example, in Q1, so it will not be reviewed, and you will receive the full score. If it's published in Q2, it takes less score. There is some stuff like that. But sometimes a researcher published a paper in 2023, and this journal was Q1 in 2023, and then suddenly the 2024 it dropped till Q3, for instance. And then when you apply for a promotion with this paper and you write the journal name, the evaluator sees that it's a Q3, not Q1. You're just claiming it's Q1, but it's Q3 journal. So the reason we have that is that for you to be able to track when was the paper published, so you can have a track record of all the site score and how it's improving. So this can tell you an indication of whether the journal will stay in Q1 or not. Okay, what is the quartile? So based on the site score.
Let me just add one thing to that, because here 2024 is just an indicator of how this journal is performing year to date, but this will be complete, as we said, in June 2025. So if you want to see a real trend of the journal performance, you can check 2023 and the years before that. So in 2022 it was 50 something, 2023 it's 65, so 22 and 23 it's moving up. 2024 it might be declining if the momentum continued that way, but to be very accurate, let's wait to June 2025 to see how it's been performing in 2024.
So in fact, the year of measurement start from June to June.
No.
From May to June, sorry.
No, it's one full year from Jan to December.
Yeah.
But to make sure that all the documents have been submitted and everything is done, it just takes up to 6 months from the upcoming year to make sure that the previous year is now complete.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Question is regarding the score. So how can I identify if this journal is Q1, Q2, or Q3?
That's a good question. That's what I was going to right now. Okay. So what we do for the site score is that we measure the site score for the entire list of journals that we have in Scopus. And then, based on the site score, we can tell the highest 25% in terms of site score, they are the Q1 journals. Q2 journals, the second 25%, Q3 are the third and the fourth. So the quartile is basically which 25% is the journal performing, whether it's a Q3 or Q1. So Q1 is from 75 till 100. Okay, again. So for each journal, sometimes you see a journal, multidisciplinary journal, like a journal with different disciplines. So for example, a journal in this case, let me okay, so you see this case. Okay, this journal works in social science and in environmental science. It has 2 subject areas. Okay, so in the social science, we've already identified 371 journals that are already in social science in Scopus. And this particular journal is number 1 out of the 371. So the percentile here is the 99th. So the 99th, this means that this journal is Q1. It's the first, because the Q1 is from 75% till 100. So 99th, it means it's in the top quartile, right? In this subject area. Sometimes you might see, like the other subject area, he's in Q1, this first subject area, but the second subject area is in Q3, for instance. So, but here this journal is really good performing, so it's Q1 in both, because it's the first journal out of 148 journals in the same subject area of environmental science, health, toxicology. And it's still in the 99%. So it's Q1 in this subject area and also in this subject area. So there is a quartile per subject area. So we collect all the subject areas and we measure all the journals in each subject area, and we measure the top 25 are Q1, the second 25 Q2, and so forth. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one question, please. Sorry.
Continue.
Okay. For example, the categories of one journal, because I'm from physical therapy, for example, I'd like to publish something related to physical therapy, but this journal have, for example, physical therapy and, let's say, occupational therapy.
Okay.
And physiotherapy is 99, for example, which is Q1, but in occupational therapy it's
Q3
below,
for
let's
us.
say 30 or 40, which is Q3 or Q2.
Uh-huh.
So for promotional,
Yeah.
for issues, so it should be okay.
When you submit, it is based, of course, on the one who is evaluating, but actually, in most of the cases, in most of the evaluation system, they look at your paper, which subject area is your paper, and they only take the quartile that is relevant to your paper. So if your paper is in, for instance, physiotherapy, and it's Q1 physiotherapy, so your paper is considered published in the Q1 journal. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your presentation. My
Yeah.
question, why some journals change from quartile 1 and send it to quartile 2, or the reverse?
Yeah.
Depend on what, please?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. Okay, so if we go up a little bit here. So, remember when we said the site score, and there's a site score tracker for the coming year? So the site score right now for this particular journal is 65.4. And the next year, until now, we know that 2024 is still not a complete year, but until now, the site score is 37.9. So apparently, this journal has more documents than it used to have in the previous year. And these documents, the new documents, is not receiving citations as much as they used to. So apparently there's a drop in the site score. And that's why the journal might not, it used to be, for example, in the 99th in one subject area, but now it will be, for example, 52. So it's going to be in Q2 in the next year. That's why I keep moving it. It's only based on the editor's policies. That's why, remember when I said you have to put yourself, when you are publishing a paper, in the editor's mindset. Okay, so the editor of this journal, he cares about his journal. He wants his journal to be Q1 journal, and that will attract more traffic to his journal, it will be more interesting for researchers. So you need to show the editor and prove to him in your paper that your paper will be cited and it is targeting an innovative topic that will be interesting to the audience of this particular journal. You have to do whatever it takes to do that.
Can you predict for next year the citation, this site score for any journal?
No, the site score tracker is actually for predicting next year so far.
Imagine, for example, for 2024, which will be calculated until June. That's what I understand.
Yes.
So if I want to publish in 25,
Okay.
it gives some prediction what will be the
Okay, again,
score?
I'll explain that one more time. So the site score here, it says site score 2024, right?
Yeah.
The tracker is for 2024.
Yeah.
This will be released, the new site score will be released, the site score 2024 will be released in June 2025, right?
Yes.
But it's going to represent when we're saying site score 2024 or 2023. We're only talking about 1 year, which is from Jan to December. Okay, but it is released in June 2020, the year after. Okay. So when the site score tracker it will stay tracking the journal performance until May 2025. Okay, so the tracker is going to be to continue. And in June 2025, what will happen is the site score, the new site score will be here, site score 2024. And the site score tracker will be for 2025, which will be released in June 2026. So the tracker is here to predict the journal performance. Okay? Is it clear?
So it doesn't give like the rate of increase or just the number? You know what I mean? For example,
You mean where is the 65 among the others and where is the 37 among the others?
yeah, for example, now it's 37, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to publish in December, for example, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what will be the calculation until June, right? Or 24,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. You will not know the calculation. You will only see the tracker till June.
Yeah, but I cannot predict from here what will happen until June.
Not really.
So I guess for us as as authors, we need to care about when to submit to the journal based on these
No.
metrics.
You should not care about when to submit your paper. You should only focus on understanding whether this journal is fluctuating in site score or it is consistent. So for you to do that, you can view the previous years also. You can view site score 2021, 2022, 2023, and you can see the progress. You can already tell if the journal is, if it has
Because it shows here from 2020, the last 2 years, and it gives you on the major table how the sum of 3 years from 2020 till 2023, and it gives you the kind of score here on the table.
yeah, you mean
On top.
on the
If we go
sources?
back, yes. If we go back, like
Yeah,
there is
yeah. That's the way the site score is calculated. It's just giving. Didn't we say that it counts the number of publications, citations divided by publications for 4 years? So what they does, look here.
right on top,
Yeah,
yes. So here's from.
those are the total number of citations received, which is going to be divided by 106. Which is resulting in this site score.
The site score.
Yeah.
So that's the math of this whole
Exactly.
number.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And there is different matrix like the percent of cited publications. Like 95% of the documents published by this journal is cited. They are cited. And the publisher name, so forth. So these metrics help you evaluate the journal performance and understand whether the journal is fluctuating or it is stagnant in performance, like it has a stable performance.
Excuse me. If I have the name of the journal and I'd like to check if it's Q1, how to put it?
If you
Because
have,
I tried now. I have the name of the journal.
can you tell me the name?
Scientific reports.
Oh, okay. So here,
Where to add it? Because I tried to add it under the
instead of subject area search, you can just select the title.
title.
And right here, when you write scientific, it already tells you here's scientific reports. I'm just going to select scientific reports, and here is the journal. Just select it. It's published by Springer Nature, and you look at the subject areas. It's in the 92nd, so it's still Q1. Okay, so remember when we said there's an updated Excel sheet with all the discontinued list of journals? So for you to be able to download this list, you can just click on this list here, download Scopus source list, download source list, takes you here, just download that, download file. Here is an Excel sheet, just forget about this. This is the entire journals database in Scopus, okay? So this is an Excel sheet that you download. It tells you the sources in Scopus already, the newly accepted journals 2024, the discontinued titles for Scopus database. It's updated on regular basis. And also you can see the conferences in Scopus, the conferences proceedings, you know, different tabs just available for you to navigate. Okay, so one of the other tools that are very interesting, also available for you to help you with the selection of journals, if we are talking about journals that are related to ELSEVIER, okay, so you're looking to publish with ELSEVIER journals, so there's several ways. One of them is to go to Science Direct and look for a journal from the list. Remember when I did not press on it, actually I clicked on the AI side on that time. So here, on the link on the top here, journals and books, you can just select that and select the discipline that you like to see. And even you can see the sub-discipline, for example, as selected engineering, and then you can select, for example, aerospace or architecture. Automotive engineering, for instance. And these are the journals available in automotive engineering from ELSEVIER that you can select. You can filter whether you want the ones open access, so you'd like to publish with APC, or you can select the ones you want to publish in a subscription. You will not have to pay in APC. You just send your paper and the readers will pay. So you can select which type of journals you would like to approach, or you can select the hybrid ones.
You may need to filter on journals first as well from the publication.
Yeah, there's also publication type here, so you can filter between either journals, books, different publication type if you'd like. Okay, so imagine you have a paper and you want to publish your paper in one of ELSEVIER journals, but you're not sure which one to do. So one of the other things that you could do, it's a free one, also is called Journal Finder. If you can just write Journal Finder on any website, then the first thing that comes to you is this platform. And this is one of the technologies also available by ELSEVIER, so that you can write down either an abstract, you can copy and paste your abstract here, and it tells you which journals from ELSEVIER is relevant to this particular abstract. Or you can just write down a search or a keyword or aim of a paper or anything, or a journal, so, and then you can search find it to get you all the journals that with the same aim or relevant to a particular keyword.
Can you filter that?
Sorry?
Can you filter the journal according to the citation index, for example?
The citation
Would you
index.
put the abstract, and I want to publish in a journal according to this abstract, but with a high citation index. Can I do that?
You can actually do that. I don't remember which pages. So let's not select the queue. I'm just going to select. Okay, so when you just write climate change, it gives you the name of the journal, the site score, the estimated time of first decision and second one. You can choose, for example, I want the journals in the top 10%, or which factor exactly. For example, you can select the top journals or not. But now we're talking about only journals from Elsevier, okay? One of the things that we've also talked about was a site score in Scopus. We also mentioned that there's other matrix, like site score, beside the site score, like SJR. Have you heard about SciMago Journal Rank? Yeah? Okay, SciMago Journal Rank is one of the other matrix that is available actually on Scopus, but it is not developed by Elsevier. It's developed by SciMago. So SciMago are the ones, they are ranking bodies, they evaluate journals based on the site score. So they use Scopus database. After we calculate the site score, in June, we send them the entire journals that has site score, and they calculate something called the SJR, and they create this SJR report. The difference between the site score and the SJR is something very simple. It's the same equation, citations divided by publications. However, they only take extra thing into consideration, that not all the citations are equal to each other. Like they give different weights for each citation. It depends on whether the citation is coming from an elite journal or coming from a journal that is not well known. Like if the citation is coming from Lancet, for instance, or New Journal of Medicine of England Journal of Medicine, it receives, for example, double weight. While if the journal is coming from the Journal of Addis Ababa University or a journal something not well known, it will not be it will receive less than one citation. So they give different weights for the citations. And accordingly, the new SJR will be calculated. And they also do Q1 and Q2 and Q3 and Q4, but only based on the SJR. So the SJR is different than the site score. And sometimes you might find a journal that is Q1 in Scopus, and in SJR it's Q2. And you might find a journal that is Q1 in Scopus and in SJR Q2, and in impact factor it's Q1 or Q3 or whatsoever. So the impact factor is the metric for Web of Science. You have to be aware of that. And there's an overlap between Scopus and Web of Science. Like 99% of the journals in Scopus, they are, in Web of Science, they are in Scopus as well. But however, Scopus is much bigger database, so it has a lot of journals that is not in Web of Science. Scopus measure the site score. Web of Science measure the journal performance based on the impact factor. The impact factor takes into consideration only 2 years of the journal performance. The site score takes into consideration 4 years of the journal performance. Imagine a journal that used to have a really good influence and really good citations in 2 years, and the following 2 years, some drop happened in the operation, leading to less citations. So the site score will stay the same almost because they take 4 years average. However, in the impact factor, only 2 years, so it's going to definitely decrease immediately. So it's a matter of time. It's not about the quality of the databases. They both are peer-reviewed databases. But the equations of measuring the quartile is different. Okay?
So does it happen, like for example, one journal, I can find it in the Scopus, Q1, and Web of Science, same year, it's Q4 or
Q2, yeah, that happens, yeah. You can find a journal with different quartiles in different databases, yes.
Maybe Dr. Nasser will answer this question about the promotion. So Kuwait University, what does it consider the Web of Science or Scopus? In terms of, but if it's both, Dr. So it's Q1 in the Scopus and then it's Q4 in the same year in Web of Science. So how it's compared? But I've heard like when it's Q1, it will be
Please, Doctor, go ahead.
That's a very good question, actually, but I want to hear the answer.
You want to hear the answer? Okay. Regarding the promotion, what do you take if a journal is in Q1 and Q2 in different databases? Which one is considered? Okay, so now the questions are about the promotional criteria. There's so many curiosity about the answer to the same question. Would you like to repeat that?
أنا أحاول أجاوب على قدر اللي أعرفه. أحد عنده سؤال البروموشن؟
Yes. So, same question, but I want to hear the answer.
What was the question?
The same question.
If the journal is in Q1 in Scopus and Q2 in Web of Science.
Okay.
Which one will be taken?
Yeah. بالعادة يكون في الساينس they go more toward JCR. For JCR Q1 they will consider it as a Q1. But at the end it won't affect promotion. يعني as long as the paper has been or the article has been indexed in Scopus or JCR, it will be considered in the promotion. The quartile doesn't affect the promotion. حق الجائزة غير بس هو يتكلم عن البروموشن غير. فهو هذا الموضوع تابع للشؤون العلمية أولا، لكن ما يأثر على البروموشن سواء Q1 ولا Q4 ما يأثر. كل ما كان في Q1 أكثر كل ما كان يعني لأن بالنهاية it goes for external reviewers. It weighs more يعني if it's in Q1. بس at the end rules or regulation يعني it won't force us to publish in Q1 ولا Q2 ولا Q4 as long as the paper has been indexed in JCR or Scopus. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much for clarifying. All right, so with this, actually, I'll get back to Q&A and I'll conclude today's session. But so just to wrap up on what we have discussed today. So first of all, whenever you receive an email from any of the journals inviting you to publish your paper with this journal, first thing you do is just stop, think, validate, and decide before approaching any journal. To validate the journal, you have to check whether go into the journal website, check the URL, make sure it is legitimate. Look at the technicalities, look at the scope, look at the editors of these journals. Make sure the journals editors are related and they look them up in Scopus. Make sure they are actual researchers who are active in this particular area. Go into Scopus, check the journal name, make sure the journal who say that he have a site score, they actually exist in Scopus. Look at the journal, look at the journal quartile, check the subject areas. Make sure that the journal is relevant to the scope and the keywords that you are looking at. So we can use, for example, if you select it to publish in ELSEVIER journals, you will have to go to Science Direct and write the name or the journal finder, and then select the publication type and the journal that relates to your paper. Yeah, so that's all from my end, and please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah. The journal ranked. Journal that is ranked number 2 is
quartile 3 or quartile 4 are being cited
more than. Yeah, maybe you find. Usually Q1 journals, it's an equation. Number of citations divided by number of publications. Imagine a journal with 100 paper and 1,000 citations. The site score would be 100. Imagine another journal with thousands of documents and millions of citations. Still the number of it receives a lot of citations as well, and still is going to receive a high site score. Maybe there's a lot of citation, but there's also a high number of publications that will result in a lower number of a lower site score, and then it could be a Q1 or Q2.
But the question here is, please correct me if I'm wrong, that articles maybe that are published in journals ranked in the Q,
The top quartile?
Third quartile or fourth quartile.
They are cited higher than in Q1?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, so one of the things in the research evaluation is there's a manifesto called the Leiden Manifesto. They created a list of things on how to judge research or to evaluate research. They came up to one of the interesting findings, is that researchers should not be judged based on whether they judge in Q1 or Q2 or Q3 or Q4. The reason for that is that you sometimes, if you look at journals, top journals, you might see that only 45% of their articles are cited, are resulting in the high site score, while 65% of the journals in Nature, for instance, has not been cited at least once. If you look at journals in Q4, you might see a publication published in Q4 journal, and it is receiving extremely higher citation than paper published in Q1. So they decided that quartile should not be a measure of, a journal quartile should not be one of the ways of evaluating journals. They added some regulations on how to evaluate research, and that was one of the discovery. It was published actually in 2019, I think, 2019 or 2020. Yeah. Please.
What is the maximum or the largest number you got in the site score till now? Any idea?
Yeah, so for each subject area,
800 is high.
you can check on the Scopus sources. So when you open sources without any filtration, so it automatically sorts the number of the entire based on site score. So they are sorted based on site score. So 873 is the highest site score.
For this year?
For this year, yes. And
for the latest 4 years, 2023 and
she means site score 2023, which considered 4 years, yes.
Question, please.
Yeah.
So for the SciVal tool, is it available to like subscription or something, even if we don't have access?
SciVal, you mean, or Scopus?
No, SciVal.
This is Scopus.
Yeah, I understand. I'm asking about this.
Oh, for SciVal, it requires subscription, yes.
Okay, so it's available. I can subscribe to it and I can use it.
not individually. If this is your question,
Oh, yeah.
it should be institutional subscription.
Institutional.
Yeah.
Oh.
Should be institutional.
Any more questions?
شكرا على حضوركم اليوم. حضوركم اليوم يعطينا دافع ان شاء الله نسوي اكثر من الورش اللي مهنوء ان شاء الله وتفيدكم. بالنهايه احب اشكر استاذ عمرو ذهب والاستاذ محمد رائد على الورشه، واحب اشكر عندي في القطاع الاستاذه فاطمه الحاتم مديره مكتب نائب مدير الابحاث مدير جامعه الابحاث. مديرة مكتب عمر راسها انا علاقات عامه وتصور وكل شيء تسوي. الاستاذه منيره العراده يعطيكم العافيه، مشكورين ما قصرتوا على حضوركم، يعطيكم العافيه.